everybody, another episode of MMA Mondays. I'm here with Dean, M16 Caldwell. Dean's getting ready to fight March 15th at Motor City Casino to defend his Clip 185 belt. Dean just got out of training, as you can tell. How's training camp going and how you feeling?
Good. I feel really strong. I feel really good. This training camp has been one of the better ones that I've had. Just dialing in at this point, getting the weight in check. That way we show up like a professional on weight every time and ready to kick some ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, since we last talked, you've had a couple fights and a little bit of up and down. Let's go back to the WXC title fight against Gladfeld. I believe his first name is Doug, right? Doug Gladfeld.
David.
Yeah. Great fight. Got caught in a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff, but you came back strong in your next fight. What do you think happened in that WXC fight that didn't go your way?
So we bit off a little more than we could chew with that one. So obviously I had just fought Memorial Day weekend, and that fight was almost 6 weeks to the date after that fight. So the weekend after where I won the Clip title, I moved that week, and then I started a new job the following Monday. So I had a ton of stuff going on in my personal life. I had taken that full week off of the gym, we got the fight offer, and they asked for me by name specifically. Yeah. And my gut was telling me, we probably shouldn't do this. We just fought, let's take the summer, take a minute, because we knew that the Lozano fight was still planned at this point.
Oh, that was already planned?
Yeah, that's been in the works for months and months and months. Yeah. So I knew that I still had that one locked in. But they asked for me by name specifically, and my sin is pride. So I felt like I was going to sound like a bitch if I turned that fight down or made some excuse like I was ducking the guy or something, right. So we took it, and I probably shouldn't have. That's definitely a guy you want a full 6 or 8 week camp for. We did a little bit of research on him, but I was still riding that high from that last fight.
Yeah.
So I just kind of looked at this guy's record. I'm like, oh, he's 4-3. I'll smash him.
Right.
But what I didn't realize is he has a win over a guy that's in the UFC, and his 3 losses were all to guys that were in Bellator or the UFC. So he's only fought the top-notch guys all around. His fights were in Texas and then Virginia, Tennessee, and then obviously in Michigan. And then he smashed, his name's Ty Wildmo. He trains at SFS. He's a U of M wrestler. He beat him in 90 seconds.
Right, yeah. So I remember we were talking about that before that fight.
Yeah, right. So I was like, man, okay, well, this guy is pretty legit. He trains at Nick Catone's, which is where Frankie Edgar, Eddie Alvarez, guys like that train. It's a very legit place. And so maybe there was a little negligence on our part as a camp that we didn't really dig deeper into who this guy was and just kind of put a little bit more blind faith in me. And I had a really bad camp. I don't want to make excuses. He was definitely the better fighter that night, but I had a tough time. I hurt my knee at one point. I hurt my neck. And then cutting to 185, obviously, that takes me about a week. So, I took the fight at 5 weeks out. I really only had 2 solid weeks of hard training. Yeah. The rest of it was I was just kind of hitting a bag or maybe hitting some pads. I wasn't really rolling. The fight itself, he was just a lot stronger than I thought he was, and my cardio wasn't really where I needed it to be. So that first round, he caught me in that body triangle, and it did kind of suck the life out of me. I don't necessarily think he was better than me at jiu-jitsu. He just happened to get to a better vantage point during that scuffle.
Right, it was kind of I kind of compare it to in hockey, puck luck. You guys were in a scuffle, and you just got the worst end of it. Correct. And ended up in a bad spot.
Yeah, so I ended up working out of it. I got to a Kimura, and I hit him with a Kimura sweep. I got on top, and then he ended up scrambling out, and then I ended the round with his back on the fence. I was just pounding on him. All round 2.
I think, stand-up, you were definitely head and shoulders above him stand-up.
Yes, all round 2, I was just boxing his brakes off. So in between 1 and 2, because how I got taken down was he had caught one of my kicks, and then off of that kick, I tried to throw a hook, and I missed. So I kind of turned my back to him, and he had my legs, so he was able to drag me down. So in between rounds 1 and 2, my corner was like, hey, we should probably hold off on the kicks. Let's just box him for now. So round 2, I went out there and did that. The problem is that body triangle in round 1, being stuck in that for 3.5 minutes and surviving, that took a lot more out of me than I thought. For sure. Round 2, I was already smoked, man. So I went out there, and I hit him with everything, and I'm like, I could put this guy away. And then in between rounds 2 and 3, I'm in the corner, and they're trying to talk to me and get a response, and I'm just trying. And if you watch round 3, there's a certain point where I literally just kind of have my arms down and I'm just like heavy breathing, waiting for him to walk towards me, and then I just start swinging on him again. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you come back with your shield or on it, you know. And I kind of went on my shield with that one, but it made me learn a valuable lesson. I really hyper focused on my jiu-jitsu. Not that I wasn't training my jiu-jitsu prior, but I definitely made that the absolute number one priority. It made me reevaluate my strength and conditioning program. So I've been going to this place called Rochester Performance Gym, or RPG. Ben Phillips, one of the guys that you also interviewed from there, he goes there quite often. And like the coach there wrote me up a routine, so I've been doing that for a while, and I feel way stronger. I feel my conditioning, my cardio is way more better. Plus, I had some personal vices that I would use on the side, you know, between nicotine or alcohol, and I've cut all that stuff out for probably the last, I don't know, 10 weeks. So I feel great. You know, if you want greatness, then you need to sacrifice in order to achieve that. The universe just isn't going to give it to you. You have to exchange it for something. So I'm trying to be more disciplined, and I do feel like if I were to, let's say, rematch Gladfelter, if it was worth it for me, I do feel like I would win, because I know for sure he can't outstrike me, and I do feel like my strength and conditioning now is on par, if not better than his. And like I said, I don't really think he was a better grappler than me. I just kind of think he got the better of a scramble, and if that had gone the other way, you know, then we'd be having a different conversation about it. But yeah.
So, you know, you took your lumps on that fight, obviously learned from it, and it sounds like it rebounded right away. Not too long, you fought Eric Lozano for another title. Under what promotion was it again?
Rebel Combat. Rebel Combat used to be TWC.
Okay.
And then they changed their name to Rebel Combat Sports.
Now, Lozano's been around forever. Like, you know, multiple professional fights, have fought like the best from Michigan.
Yes.
He's kind of like a journeyman type, stepping stone type fighter, but still presents a challenge because of all his knowledge. You know, obviously that fight went well.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think he performed in that fight? And
I thought it went really well. So looking at his record, I mean, obviously he's like a 500 fighter, and he's got like 40 pro fights.
Right.
But
which isn't easy to do.
No,
you know, it's hard to fight that much.
Yeah,
especially in MMA.
And he fought for the BKFC title. Yeah. You know, he's been a professional MMA champion for multiple organizations. But if you really like deep dive into his like win-loss and like how he's lost, it's always round 2, round 3, round 4. He loses a decision. Very rarely does he get put out in the first round. So I knew, like, hey, I got to make a statement. Like, this guy's a Michigan legend. People are sleeping on me now because I had a goof up in that last fight, and it kind of killed the hype a little bit. I got to bring that hype back. And I know he's got a huge following. He was doing all kinds of podcasts and stuff leading up to it, talking about how he's going to out-grapple me and do this. So it kind of lit a fire under my ass, because I knew after my last fight I wanted to work on my strength and conditioning, and I wanted to hyper focus on that grappling. But then hearing him say that he was going to out grapple me was like, okay, we'll see about that.
Right.
So yeah, I went out there. You know, I felt really strong, really good. The weight cut went well. Hit him with a couple head kicks. Cracked him with a really nasty leg kick that made him do a 360. Yep. And then he kind of like exactly what happens every time I really get a hold of somebody. They kind of panic and come forward crazy. I timed it, blast doubled underneath it, and as soon as we hit the mats, it was pretty much a wrap. It took me a minute. I didn't really use a lot of ground and pound, mainly because he actually wasn't terrible, you know, and I wanted to really just secure that position. And a lot of guys will, you know, let people up, especially when you get all slippery and slimy. You know, if I'm in top half guard and I got my underhook and then I let go and I'm trying to, you know, land some elbows or something, a lot of guys are able to kind of post, and then you got to exert more energy trying to like re-scramble and re-wrestle them back to the ground. Whereas I could just kind of lay on them for a second and secure that position and tire him out. Yeah. And so I kind of did that for a minute, waited for him to make a mistake, capitalized on it, hit him with the anaconda, and got him out of there in 3 minutes in the first. So I felt really good after that. Like I needed that. You know? Yeah.
Do you think that did a lot, like, not for your comments, but maybe for like now people know like Dean Caldwell's nothing to mess with. Like,
yes.
Like you had a hiccup the fight before that, but you'd stop a guy like that in the first round, like you said, never been done or has been done very little. And, you know, kind of put your name back out there a little bit.
Absolutely. So I mean, nobody around here lost faith, because I mean they saw my camp leading into that fight. They kind of knew what was going on, and then they were there at the fight, and they could see how it was a very high level matchup. It was very closely contested. But for me, it just like, it hurt my pride. So I knew I needed to get one back. And I did. I worked really, really hard for that one, man.
Right.
Going into the Lozano fight, I mean, we knew about it, like I said, even before I took the Gladfelter fight. So as soon as that Gladfelter fight was over, we were right back in the gym, just grinded the next week. Like, matter of fact, the Sunday after I had fought Gladfelter, I was here for Sunday class. Like, I obviously got to improve.
I was gonna say,
So
I called Ben because I used to fight, so I know what like a tough loss, how it feels. You know what I mean? And I was just like, hey, how's Dean doing? And he said he's in the gym already. So you were already back in the gym, ready to go, preparing for another title fight. So obviously, you have a lot of faith in yourself and what you can do, and knew that wasn't a complete description of how you fight. Now moving off those two fights, you're here to defend your title on the 15th. The clip title. So how do you feel going into this fight? And tell me a little bit about your opponent. What do you think about that?
Very confident. He's more of a striker, more of an old school karate guy. I mean, he's been in the game for a while, but he hasn't fought in a very long time. So I'm not really sure why he's deciding to make his return against me, but apparently he asked for me. So it wasn't, like I'm trying to pick fights or cherry pick. He specifically asked for me. They ran it by us, and I was like, hey, why not, But I feel really strong. I feel really good. After that Lozano fight, I kind of took the holiday, spent some time with the family. And right after the holiday, we got right back to it, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a better strength and conditioning program now. My jiu-jitsu is vastly improving, my wrestling, my cardio. And obviously still my striking. You breathe the air in this building, and your striking is going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I feel like I'm better than the sky everywhere, and I feel like it's going to be another first round finish, and we'll just keep rolling, move on to the next one, and then there's a bigger name that's got a bigger record that I don't want to drop any spoilers right now, but this summer I would like to knock off one of the guys that's got like a 7-1, 8-1 record that's in one of the weight classes that I fight in. So, and then see if that's enough to kind of get us to the next spot. If not, maybe we'll retire another UFC vet or something.
There we go. All right. Well, so things are in the works. Obviously, the fight March 15th is at Motor City Casino Soundboard. Sure, you can get a hold of Dean on what's your Instagram handle?
At Dean M16 Caldwell.
Yeah, if you need tickets, hit him up. This episode will air on Monday, so the fight's that Saturday. So get a hold of Dean if you want some tickets. Good luck to Dean. A lot of confidence. We'll see you guys at the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.